Welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 90, recorded on the 26th of April 2017. My name's Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk Nintendo, we have Colin Crumpton.
Hello, we are live.
We are. Well, spoilers, which seems appropriate for this show. Today's episode is all about Zelda, so it's the Zelda spoiler cast. But before we get into all that lovely Zelda goodness, we've got a bit of house cleaning to do. So, if you weren't aware, the last episode we did wasn't just audio like the other 88 episodes before it. We also did it on YouTube, so in video. And this episode we're doing something new as well. We're doing this one live. And I don't know if anyone's actually watching this live yet, but you could have. And from here on out, we'll be doing live shows, at least for the near future. I can't promise it indefinitely, but the next few will definitely do live. And so if you do want to catch the show, either on video at any time, or if you do want to catch it live, chuck in some questions, or do what you do on a live show, it's very simple. All you need to do, go to youtube.com/Nintendo Voice. At the top of the screen, it's going to show you when our next live show is, in your local time, most importantly, and you can set a reminder. And please do subscribe and all that lovely goodness.
Well, that good YouTube goodness. Yep.
YouTube goodness. And as I said, we're going to do our special Zelda show today. Is it all Zelda?
Yeah.
It's kind of just a giant what we've been playing, but over the last couple of months. And we're going to extend our bonus round yet again. And the last piece of house cleaning, we had a few comments. I had a few comments on YouTube that it was very too plain in this room, and apologies for the audio-only audience here. I'll try not to do this too often, but I am making visual cues here to the videos.
He is. He's put some very nice pictures on the wall.
I put some pictures on the wall, basically. There we go. Thanks, Colin.
Sorry.
Cool. I think we should jump straight in then.
Let's do it.
So, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
We've kind of been dancing around the subject, kind of not. I'm not sure how good or not we've been on the spoilers.
I think we've been pretty good, actually, considering we haven't really gone outright and be like, yeah, this happens.
This is true.
But very vague.
Have been even more cautious, like not even mentioning like basically anything, and like, oh, we must only discuss the Great Plateau. But we've been mentioning, the divine beasts and particular parts, but we have been avoiding certain bits, and that's what today's all about. And so we've already spoken about how we've both beaten the game.
Yes.
I think maybe a good starting point here would maybe discuss like kind of our process through it. So like I guess basically kind of like the order of the divine beasts, and we can kind of work out from there like how our journeys may have differed.
That sounds good. Do you want to start with this?
I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, after you do the whole Great Plateau, you get the glider, which is really cool. I kind of just wondered, you get a sense of freedom. It's like, oh, there's a tower over there, and there's something over there, and basically anything that glowed, I just ran towards. It's like a firefly. It was interesting for me. I took the long way around to get to any of the divine beasts. The first one I actually tackled was the Rito Village one.
Yes.
Which is still my favorite one.
That's cool.
First.
I've heard it's not the what I did first, but a lot of people did the Zora domain first.
See, retrospectively, I would love to do that one first, just because of the ability you get when you clear it. Is the it's like basically a super fairy ability. If you die, it brings you back to life with all your hearts and extra.
That is very cool, but also the Rito one is a pretty good ability to get early on as well.
It's a good exploration ability. It doesn't have much use outside of that, but since the game's focused on exploration, it is useful.
Exactly. You get around quite literally.
Yeah, it's useful. The one I tackled because I did the Rito, and then I did the Zora, then I did the Goron, the Death Mountain one. That's the worst. that is the worst one. Yeah, that's the only dungeon I did where I was glad it was over.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mainly because of the boss fight at the end, actually. You fight Ganon with the fire version, which that's one of my gripes really about games. Like there's no real like extra bosses. It's just you fight different versions of Ganon.
True.
And even though they are varied, it's still Ganon. But yeah, the fire one has like this flame shield. I couldn't work out how to get past these freaking flame shield, and
so I guess the Gerudo was the last for you. So Goron was second to last, do you say?
Yeah, Gerudo was last. It was good. I agree with one. Yeah, so that's my path.
So the path, Divine Beast path, at least for myself, at least in terms of completion, because I did some weird bouncing back and forth of finding them first and not actually getting into them. So did the Goron one first.
Okay.
I think my path's quite different than most people's.
Death Mountain first.
So I did Death Mountain first. Then I did the Rito one. I think I did. Then Zora. Then the Gerudo one last. Yeah,
the Gerudo one. I think the reason I did the Gerudo one last was it looked the least interesting.
Oh, really?
At least from my perspective, I was like, it's a big thing in the desert.
The desert's quite, a dangerous place to go. I think, admittedly, I probably should have had that thought when I saw Death Mountain, but I went, "Ooh, this looks exciting." Instead, looking at the desert, "Ooh, I don't want to trek that."
Death, I'll go there first.
Yeah, like as a paraglider, go, "Oh, this looks like a fun adventure," and I suddenly burst into flames.
He's like,
"Well, this is nice."
That's what I didn't like about Death Mountain. Is like I couldn't work out how to not burst into flames. I was like, "Oh, you have to get the Goron City, obviously, because that's where you buy the armor that will save you."
I would have not made it that far.
No, it wasn't until because I basically avoided roads when I was playing through. I was like, I'm not going to follow the roads because that's what everyone else is going to do. So I just like kept going cross country and climbing and whatever. Until I found out you kind of need to follow the road to Death Mountain because there's a lady who will sell you the elixir to stop you from burning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, of course. I do want to prefix, so I did finish all the dungeons, but before I touched any of them, I made sure to get the Master Sword first.
Okay.
Which, whenever I hear someone beat the dungeons without the Master Sword, I'm like, why? How? Exactly. Guilty.
Yes, that's something I did. Yeah, I didn't get the Master Sword too. Actually, I think, I can't remember if it was after all the dungeons or, I think it was, wasn't it? Or did I have one left to go? I think I did them all first.
I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm sure listeners will be able to remind me either way. I did speak about it at the time. So yeah, we talked about the order of the Divine Beasts. I think an area which we've deliberately not been speaking about are kind of those little stories which you kind of stumble upon. And I think one of the ones which have kind of become a bit more infamous or just in general popular on the internet is I'm just going to call it the island because I can't remember what it's called now.
Oh, Eventide?
Eventide Island.
Oh.
So, you're groaning already. So, what was your story around?
I discovered it by kind of just like by accident. I assumed that I was going to hit an invisible wall. Because I saw it in the distance. I was like,
"Oh, before you got to, while trying to get to the island."
Yeah, trying to get to the island. I was like, "Can you go that far?" Because it's quite far out to sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not sure if I can make it. So I got a raft, Korok leaf. Spent like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there was an easier way of like maneuvering the boats instead of having to keep attacking just to get it to blow in the right direction.
Oh, so you did take the boat to the island?
Yes, I did, yeah. But of course, when you get near it, then like a cutscene triggers and you lose all your stuff. I was like, "Where's my stuff?"
So I guess did you have no heads up at all what the deal was with the island?
No, none at all. Which I kind of wish I was more prepared for it. But yeah, I like the concept of the island. That is basically being like clever about the environment, more so than having like overpowered equipment. But at the same time, it's God, that's a hard section of the game.
So did you fail it the first time?
I failed it several times.
Several times. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which obviously, if you do, it kicks you all the way back to even before the island. So where you have to get to.
I had an interesting thing happen to me. I got there's a giant. I can never remember the names, but there's a giant who has the ball around his neck.
Yes.
That you got to collect. And of course, I managed to sneak onto him and get the ball. But I got into a fight running down the beach towards where the ball needs to go.
Yeah.
And the ball ended up getting hit out to sea.
And
of course, once it hits water, it just drifts. And it goes. And of course, you're like, oh, but there it goes. And you try and swim after it, and the game goes, oh, do you want to quit? I'm like, no. But the ball's there. you know, like, how...
Did the ball like never return home, as it were?
Exactly. No, just keep going. Like,
wow.
So I had to quit it, go back into it, everything resets.
That's the thing. Well, I mean, I kind of wish, ironically, that I didn't know about it before I stumbled upon it. Because I knew it was lurking out there because I heard some stories on the internet about it. So I kind of knew the setup. But I did have fun with it, nonetheless. I did die once. And this was because I'd only heard the general idea of it, and I hadn't actually looked any further. And so when I was trying to get the ball around the giant, that guy, whatever the big version's called, I was just trying to brute force get it, attack him to destroy him.
You attacked it.
To my credit, I got his health down quite low, but I did die in the process.
Suicidal.
And it was a very long, drawn-out battle. But no.
Yeah.
And then the next time I approached it, I did just steal it from him while he was sleeping. Because there's something quite like about this game is I often, much like how I find other good games, as it were, is when I'm not playing the game, I can often come up with ideas which, when you try in the game afterwards, actually can work out. And a lot of that's been happening with Zelda. And that was one of the examples as well. So, yeah. Any ever particular shrines which kind of stand out for you?
One that really early on the Great Plateau.
Yeah.
There's a shrine you'll get to. It's like in the snowy area, and I never got the warm doublet jacket thing. I was like, how do I? And I worked out if you light a torch, and just have a torch, it raises your body temperature. It keeps you warm.
Pretty cool, yeah. It's only just to work that out.
So I'm like, I'll just carry this torch all the way to the shrine, but then you get attacked. It's like just keep running.
Like the fire swords have a similar effect as well.
They do.
You just have fire swords.
They're awesome. You can stand with a fire sword just like next to an ice block and just watch it slowly melt. Yeah. Very, very slowly melt.
As an extra bonus effect, it's not. I don't think it's intentional, but it can be used as a source of light.
That's right. Yeah. If you need light,
it works enough to be able to see.
That's actually kind of the best thing about the way the physics engine works in this game is that everything has properties. So if you need to make like a connection between two like electrical lines, you can just drop a sword.
And it'll work. Yeah.
It works as a current. I'm like, that's really clever because most games wouldn't take that into consideration that it's a metal object still. That is awesome. But shrines, the only ones I really remember are the terrible ones.
Well, it depends what you define as terrible, I guess. What was
the motion control ones are just...
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll agree with you there. So I'm usually pretty pro-motion.
Pro-motion.
I'm a pro-motion guy. But yeah, some of the motion puzzles, I mean, some of them just seem very badly designed because, like, yes,
Yeah.
you can completely play this game, on the Switch as a portable, and it seems that you are literally rotating the thing completely.
Yeah.
To the fact, like, at parts of it, you can't see the screen at all because that's where the object would be.
That's the issue.
You're really at odds with what you're doing.
That's the issue I had with the gamepad. So I'm playing it off TV.
Okay.
I just sit in my room playing it off TV, and I'm like, so I've got to rotate this so many increments. I'm like, I'm going in blind. I just can't see, and it's so frustrating.
And beyond that, I think, at least for me, why the motion, I didn't get on with it in this game. Well, in terms of like those motion puzzles, in terms of like the aiming with motion controls, that's absolutely fine.
Oh,
but I think the reason why. Oh, fair enough. But in terms of like those maze type puzzles, I think why most people don't get on with them is because there's a delay, and because it's working on this physics engine. So when you start tilting it, it kind of builds up momentum, and then it starts moving. And then when you stop moving, it still has the momentum.
It has a slight,
and it moves till it stops, which is more realistic.
But that's not what you need.
It's terrible for a motion control. Like, it needs to be as exact as it can.
It needs to be 1-to-1.
So when you stop it, it needs to try to be 1-to-1. As best it can. And this is deliberately not being that. Which, that doesn't get on with me. That's one of my worst as well.
The worst one was you had to guide a ball through a maze, and there's like gaps, deliberate gaps where the ball will fall down, and it'd be like, I just can't. That was so frustrating.
Even some ones where you're swinging hammers and such, and it should be relatively easy. But if it's a young console, you're trying to shift it or the game.
There is one shrine I really did enjoy was it's like a mini golf course.
Ah, yes.
You have to do the time stuff on the ball and then hit it at the right angle, watch it like go down this little white course and into the hole. That was awesome. The only issue with that is, and this is a gripe I have with the game, inanimate objects still damage your weapons, and I wish that wasn't the case.
True. Yeah.
I wish it was like enemies only, because I'm going through so many weapons trying to get this darn ball into this hole. It's ridiculous. So someone did suggest like a way to like not damage your weapons. If you unequip your weapon, but then pick it up using magnesis and hit enemies with it, it doesn't damage the weapon.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm like, yeah, but if you're trying to hit a ball into a hole, you got to be accurate. You can't just like start randomly hitting it with magnesis. But yeah, other than that, shrines. I was disappointed by a lot of shrines because some of them are just like a big room that you go into, and it's like the blessing shrines. It's like, you've worked hard to get here, so here's a reward. So, okay, yeah. The battle ones aren't very good. Although I do like the major test of strengths, the hardest ones. I feel like that's like a nice little mini boss, because those things were resilient, and you got some really good stuff from them.
And I think they kind of remind you that the combat is more in depth and you're pro playing it.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's
I always find myself just smashing my way through the game until I get until an enemy starts to give grief, and then I have to remember that there are these other techniques I could be using.
The slow motion dodge.
Yeah, especially that.
It's so basic, but it's so cool. When you put it off, it's like, yeah, here we go.
But yeah, there's a shrine I wanted to talk about. It's one of the puzzle ones. And it's in the Coral Forest.
Oh,
and I want to check with you. I can't remember the name of it, but the clue is like the answers in the skies. I think it is.
Yes, the constellations. Yes,
the constellation. I've since heard, and I felt quite good for it, that it's a particular shrine that a lot of people get stumped at. And I also heard it on the Nintendo Radio podcast. They were all stumped by it at the time. And I remember playing this one for a friend, and it did stump us, but we didn't give up. And we just kept looking at it until we had the eureka moment, and we both felt very chuffed.
See, I can't recall how I even beat that one. I know I was there for, because it's such a riddle. It's like it mentions the constellations. So I'm like,
it reminded me of Professor Layton puzzle. By the time I solved it,
it kind of did actually. Yeah, I mean, but it mentions constellations. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll go outside and have a look at the sky. That's not what you need to do.
Yeah, that is quite creative thinking. I didn't try that one.
I was like, maybe there's like stars that line up. Oh, okay, that's a pattern I need to do. No, the pattern is on the wall that you need to follow. But yeah, no, that was a tough one. That did take me a while.
But yeah, I did find there was a lot of the shrines were just quite rewarding in terms of the puzzles, because it seemed like they would focus on an idea, and like they definitely wouldn't run it dry. If anything, they would do the opposite. But there was enough, I felt, or there is still.
It was usually they take an idea in like 2 or 3 stages. They're like, here's the basic concept, and now here's the next level of that concept, and here's the final challenge, and then you get reward. How did you feel about the hiding behind the Korok trial?
Oh, okay. It seemed alright. I mean, to be fair, it did take a few attempts.
I found that one particularly punishing. Mainly because if you can be right near the end of it and he spots you, you have to do the whole thing again. It's like a 20-minute process. But it wasn't too bad. It was kind of one of those things. And
it was kind of, at least for me, it was kind of a build up for the Master Sword as well, just because I needed all the shrines and the heart containers I could get.
So could you?
That was more kind of connected.
When you found the Master Sword, you couldn't get it right away, right?
No, not for a long while. And actually, I think I remember. I think I went looking for the Master Swords after I did 3 Guardians or Beasts.
Oh, okay.
And then realised at that point I still needed a lot of hearts. And so I think I had finished all of that last Divine Beast, and then was still going for shrines to get enough hearts to get them sword before I did Ganon. Which I think is quite different to how most people have played this.
Oh, it's completely different to how I played it. Yeah. Like Master Sword first. So how do you feel about the concept of like the Master Sword, like the tests to put it out the ground, like it hurts you? Basically, it's draining Link of his life, and then he's like, stop. You'll die if you keep going.
I think it worked in the sense that it gave a reason for you to kind of build up some sort of strength or some sort of experience or, something as a character. You had to go on a big enough adventure to get the Master Sword. And it didn't seem to break, it just fitted into the systems it had. You could kind of understand why Link is draining off hearts when he's trying to pull this out, like with this big test of strength. It didn't need to be overly explained. So yeah, I think it worked.
No, it's a good like gateway. It's like you can't get hit too early and just be like, aha, I'm now unstoppable.
Because to be fair, if I did just run up to it and grabbed it, it would have been a bit anticlimactic.
Well, I tried to cheat the system a little bit because I was like,
I did this too, yeah.
I'll eat food that gives you more hearts. And the game's like, nope. You can't.
I was so confident it was going to work as well. And I felt silly that I didn't think of it beforehand. And I think I was like, why didn't I use cook something, get some temporary hearts?
Yeah.
Do it again.
Instant Master Sword, nope. The game's like, nope.
Doesn't
and
work.
it's good that it doesn't let you do that, because that'd be so easy. You could just like blaze it there. How do you feel about the Master Sword's energy system? It temporarily breaks.
It does. I think they did the best with the system they made. Like,
yeah, I guess.
If it didn't run out of energy, I think it would undermine the systems they made.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you never use any other weapon.
Yeah, and
Master Sword. That's it.
If it broke, literally, that would be another completely different issue. So yeah, I think
for what buy a new Master Sword.
What they were working with, I think it fits in nicely. But to be completely fair, it doesn't feel as fun as a regular Master Sword and a regular Zelda game because of it. But I
Yeah,
understand.
no, I can see that. It doesn't feel as legendary because it's like
True.
it still runs out of energy. It's like,
Yeah. Although, in its defense, like at the parts when it wants you to feel good for using it, like when you're fighting a boss, I think at those moments it feels the best the Master Sword ever has. When it just starts glowing like a lightsaber sort of thing.
Especially
like,
Link.
all right, let's do this.
That pose he does, like when you're fighting Ganon, and Link just pulls out a sword and holds it sideways and just starts glowing. It's like, phew, here he goes, Okay, so I mentioned Ganon there briefly. The final Ganon fight, part 1 of it, I should say.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that fight as a final boss fight?
Final boss fight. Well, just quick context. I assume none of us, or neither of us, have played it without having done all the Divine Beasts first. Just to check.
No.
That's cool. We're on the same. We're on the
same page. That's good.
So I thought it was a good start of the fight. Again, it was a fight which reminded me there are other systems involved. Because I did brew, and cook a load of things to, restore health. And even having done that, I did die a few times during that first part. And then when I learned, all right, I do have some Guardian shields, and I can parry his lasers back. And
it took me forever to work that out. I was like, how do I? He shoots you, and Link does all ragdoll physics on the floor, and he's like, "Get up, Link, get up and do something. He's going to shoot you again." And I was like, I can't, because I was like, oh, deadly tennis. And Zelda always has deadly tennis.
Yes.
I'll hit it with my sword. I was like trying to time it with my sword. Didn't go well.
No.
Because there's even a bit where Ganon like holds out his hand and like, this red ball appears and he throws it towards you. I'm like, deadly tennis, here we go. It's time to batter up.
Yeah.
When to hit it, it just explodes. I was like, what do I need to do to him? And of course, so if you have all 4 of the Divine Beasts, Ganon's health gets like reduced down to half, which makes the boss fight considerably easier. At least I would assume so.
Yeah. And the other thing I've heard is not only that, if you haven't beat the mini Ganon bosses, as I call them, you have to fight them all within that fight. As in they're like the first stages of it.
No. no, that's
which would be fun to play.
It'd be chaotic. It'd be just like Link's like, can I tag anyone else in?
I don't think like you're fighting Ganon and the mini Ganons all at once.
Oh, I think like jump on you.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping not. I'm pretty sure he kind of bows out and like you fight the little Ganon and then he'll come back in and then
that does sound like it'd be more epic, but more time consuming though. Because this boss fight's already. I mean, it's fairly long, especially the first part. If you don't know what you're doing, it takes a while.
However, when you do know what you're doing, you can get through it quite quick.
Yeah, I think I never thought it for a second time.
Oh,
I should go back actually.
I'm not sure. I don't know why, but yeah, I think probably about 5 times I've seen the credits.
Like it's cool, I'll do it again.
Basically, like after the first time, I had a decent reason because I hadn't done all the memories yet.
Yeah.
So I did them again, but since I've shown it through a few friends, and I've done it at least once without a friend watching, just because.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Turn the speakers up and play it for it. It's good.
So you say turn the speakers up. Okay, so this was part of the boss fight I wasn't too keen on. In part 2.
Okay.
Part 2. Ganon, the giant beasts, right? That boss fight is really cool. I really like that boss fight. What I don't like is what is up with that jazzy piano. It's just some guy like playing this jazz piano in the background. Like,
I think fan of the jazz piano.
It's just jazz piano playing. Okay, good. Gonna kill Ganon to some jazz. It's great.
That's definition of cool.
If you like jazz, yeah. The second boss fight, the second part of it, it is so like It's not hard. It's like way easier than the first part, but it really is just to show off like this is how big and epic battle can be.
Yeah, that, and again, I think it's making good on the systems, like it's been showing you throughout the game, and like the one in particular is like, oh yes, this game was about a big gigantic open world, so why would we just enclose you into a single room for the climax of the game?
Yeah,
We're gonna set this giant monster loose, and you're gonna just be back on that big open world, and
I kind of feel they missed a trick though. It'd be cool if there's like a chase sequence, like you're on horseback running away from the beast scat,
and see what you traveled across more of the land.
Yeah, you go for like the Jordan Peaks, and he's trying to crash his way and get you. That would be really cool. Yeah, but because I didn't have a good horse when I got to Ganon. I haven't done much like the side horse stuff. I grabbed my horse at the beginning.
Yeah,
and that was it.
What happens if you haven't registered any horse? I assume a horse will come.
Yeah, because you kind of need it. And it's like,
do you actually need a horse?
I know there's gusts of wind, so you can fly around, but I never tried that.
Because you obviously need to do that to do the final shot.
You do, yeah. I might try a boss fight again and just get off the horse. Just be like, ah. I'm not sure Ganon's going to like, bam, you're dead.
I've definitely fallen off the horse during the fight.
Oh yeah, well, my horse had I had like 2 spurs to use, and then the horse would freak out and like chuck me off. Now I've got much better horses. I'm pretty sure that boss fight be a lot easier. But yeah.
So yeah, I think overall, really like the Ganon fight, first half, second half. Thought they complemented each other quite well. It didn't go on super long like sometimes they do.
Twilight Princess boss fight.
Yeah,
that goes on for ages.
Tenuous. But this was nice, and I think it was a nice finale to the game, which is a tricky one because knowing how open the game is, and it does introduce a lot of new things.
Yeah,
how do you kind of wrap it up in the traditional way?
I was still somewhat disappointed by the bonus ending you get by collecting the memories. I don't feel like it was necessary. I don't feel like it kind of added anything. It's just them going, oh, we got to go somewhere else now. Okay.
Easily. Also, and listeners, I guess, to the show, give you an update on how the live show is going. Well, there are people watching, which is cool.
Yay.
There are people chatting in the live chat. It's such a crazy world we live in. And I wanted to mention this now because we got Mike from Infendo's on the live chat, and he was jumping into the discussion, saying that he had 5 horses by the time he beat Ganon, but he had a completely different horse presented to him for the final scene.
That's interesting.
It seems odd. See, I used the Link Amiibo, the Smash one, so I had Epona, and I kind of forgot about it because I only used Epona once. Yeah, and then I kind of Epona showed up at the end. Oh, that's cool. I'm running Epona. I didn't think like I had registered before, and I had assumed everyone had that.
So Epona wasn't your active horse at the time.
I mean, it probably was. That's why I use horses so rarely in the game.
Oh, I see.
Like
Once you got to be into fast travel, like once you've got like a bunch of like fast travel points, it's like, oh, let's go there and there. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I did have Epona, but I've told that story of creating her on the Great Plateau, and then being like, how do I register her? I can't get down.
But we got a Mike update as we're still on the subject. Mike has the Royal Horse and the Ganon Horse, but the game gave him some spotted turd that had 2 stamina. That is a lesson 3. Yeah, so it can give you some random horse, apparently.
That's bizarre, yeah.
The game doesn't like you very much.
It's like, you have too many horses. Have this one.
Actually, I assumed you met the horse god.
I have, yes.
What do you think of that character?
A conning, a somewhat conning. Oh, you're talking about the four-eyed,
Yeah,
the Lord
kind
of the
of.
Mountain.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking of the one which can resurrect a dead horse.
Oh, the fairy, yeah, weird fairy thing. Yes, conning little thing that is. Because she asked for so many rupees. You're like, this better be good. This better be good. This, I found it quite early on. I was like, I don't have that much, but I'll save up for it. And then she's like,
How
oh
many
yeah,
rupees is that one again?
I think it's either 1,000 or 5,000. I found it quite early on, and I was like, I can't afford that yet.
Yeah.
So I went back there as soon as I could. And so, oh yeah, I'll bring back any horse back to life. It wasn't really useful to me. And I was like,
No, I've not killed any horses.
I've used to once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took on a guardian with a horse. I had basically just a couple of weeks ago, and the horse died. Don't tackle your guardians with horses, people. Jerry does it as well.
No. Well, the guardians is something we'll have to speak about soon. But before we do, I do want to talk about the Great Fairies.
Oh, yes.
Because there's some sort of logic jumping around here.
Yes, it works fine.
And so, from what I understand, how much you pay the Great Fairy to, I can't believe I'm saying this, reveal itself, depends on just purely the order you find them in and not where they are located.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I believe so. Because it always went up in price.
Yeah,
it never went down.
And how much was that last one? Was it like 10,000?
Like 10,000.
Yeah,
10,000. It's like crazy.
It was a crazy amount of rupees.
But speaking of the so the Great Fairies are there to improve your armor. The best thing about it is every time you improve your armor one more step, you get a different animation from the Great Fairies. So first, I think she just like blows you a kiss and then gets all like churlish about it. There's like next time they do it, she like pats him on the head, and then like the next time after that, she sort of grabs him and hugs him.
Yeah,
and then the final time you upgrade your set, she grabs him and then like drags him to her underwater lair. Link's a very lucky man, I guess.
Yeah, well, he certainly appears happy afterwards.
There are no questions.
There were many questions. There are no answers. Too many questions.
Like, what have I done? How can he breathe?
I don't know. Maybe he's part Zora. Would explain a lot.
It would explain a lot, but so how do you feel about the Great Fairies having that purpose of like upgrading your armor and not doing anything else really?
I think it was a good fit for them, really.
Good, okay.
In the sense that, like, I guess before they gave you just like the abilities as such, and I guess there wasn't apart from the abilities you get from the Guardians, the champions, sorry, not the Guardians.
Yeah.
There isn't really much of an equivalent in this game, but your armor was a big deal, and it not necessarily like in terms of its like defense, but in terms of like you would actively switch up, when you're in a hot environment or a cold environment or climbing and so on. And so it was something you were kind of actively doing. And so giving them the purpose of upgrading that stuff, I think made it quite cool. And it makes you come back to the Great Fairies.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think it's just a little thing, like, because, that's where, regular fairies gather as well.
Yeah.
They are quite cool places just to see. I do like returning to like just the Great Fairy area, at least, to catch fairies when they're still around and you sneak up on them.
I always find that if you have like more than like 3 fairies, though, they very rarely appear. That's like a balancing act for the game. But I do like the carrot on stick, which is if you upgrade a full set, each piece of a full set twice, that full set then gains an ability, which I was like, that's pretty cool. That's almost like that's very RPG-ish in a sense. Very unusual for Zelda game to do that, but I kind of wish the fairies had instead of it just focusing on armor, if they could repair weapons as well.
That would have been
if you
cool.
can give
Yeah.
like, it's like it's about break. Oh, I really like it. Or they can make weapons like unbreakable. Again, they'll undermine the weapon system, but it costs you a lot of materials to do.
You simply just had like some sort of magic value to it, and like you could pour in whatever the currency was to make a particular weapon last for that long. I don't think it would necessarily break the system, because you would have to put into it as much as you got out of it.
That's right.
Maybe something they can explore next time. But I think they found a good use for them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is a nice thing. And I think another thing worth discussing, and this is something I think previous Zelda games have got quite wrong in the past.
Oh dear.
And it's a strange one. And it's like the economy of the world. Like I usually find at the end of a Zelda game, I've got so many rupees and nothing to spend them on.
Right, yeah.
And like you're getting chests with rupees in them, and you're like,
I can't carry it.
Max.
Exactly, yeah.
I can't carry you.
Okay, so that's one cool thing about this game. There's no max limit, at least as far as I've hit. I've got 23,000 rupees, but I'm always spending rupees to get equipment.
It's respectable.
Well, at the very towards the end of the game, you fight these silver enemies who are like super tough. They're basically like mini bosses on their own. Whenever you kill them, they drop a load of gems. And it's like, I'll just sell these on, and you get a couple of thousand rupees each time. I mean, I'm kind of glad in some respects, but you can't just cut grass to get rupees. It's just kind of
I think that would have been a bit bizarre if that was still there. Because there's so much grass. You would just you wouldn't be looking at the wonderful vistas. You would just be every 5 seconds just swiping the grass.
You'd be counting the blades of grass about a cut. Be like,
you would make no progress across the world.
Well, you would, but it'd be very slow and steady progress. But I do like the. I mean, the main way of getting money is just by killing monsters.
Yeah.
And taking their parts and then selling them on. Did you ever discover that nighttime shop?
Is this the monster shop?
The monster shop, yeah.
I've not bought anything from it yet.
You don't. It's you can get the shadow
monster mask, right?
You get monster mask. You can get the Shadow Link outfit from him, dark tunic. Most disappointing I would say in the game.
It
does nothing. It just looks cool. It has 3 defense on each bit, and you can't upgrade it.
Oh.
So it's like, I mean, that's cool, but I'm not going to use it. It has those special abilities. You can also get like horse gear, which looks, it's alright. It's an interesting little shop.
Cool. But yeah, the game does give you lots of different places and things to spend your cash on.
Definitely,
whether it's just there's a whole set of side quests which might be worth going into. Both, buying the building which is going to be torn down and turning into your home and upgrading it, and the Terry's Town request.
Yeah. Oh, that town.
Which I have now completed. Last time we discussed, I had not.
Cool. Yeah. One of the most tedious side quests. I like the part where you gotta look for the people. You gotta try and find someone who name ends in son. That's cool. I like that. I hate having to go and get the wood.
Yes.
It's like, I need 50 pieces of wood. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's a lot of trees. Okay.
I found out that stuff went by quicker than I thought it would do.
Really? It took me forever.
Like, it would matter of you'd have to just get you'd have to get a double-sided axe or find 2 axes.
Oh yeah.
And then once you've got them, it's just finding a place with a load of trees and just cut them down. It does that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a task where you're just cutting down trees. It's not the most exciting task in the world.
It just took Yeah, I know. For me, it took forever. I was running out. I was trying to stay in the area, local area.
Oh no, I was just warping out to forests.
Yeah, I was like, I gone for like 2 forests.
Yeah.
I'm running out of trees to cut.
Waiting for blood moon to appear
Yeah,
because it's
speaking of
still
side
forest.
quests, actually, that's another little disappointing aspect. Most of the side quests, the
Well,
reward you
cutting down
get is just,
trees.
well, there's that, but it's purely 50 rupees most of the time. It's just here's some money.
Yeah.
I always felt a bit like, can you not give me something like more substantial? You know, it's just. But yeah, it's kind of more about the journey of the side quests rather than the destination. The reward is usually just something tiny. It's like,
That's true. Yeah, there's a few odd exceptions, but yeah, most of the time it's just like this small
yeah,
token, which, yeah, like there's a bunch of different ways to get rupees and so on. Or if
yeah,
they, yeah. But I mean, it gives you something to, I guess, just what it is, just kind of to mark off your quest sheet.
quest sheet. Yeah, I still got like 8 or so quests left to find. No idea where they are. It's just hidden around the world. I got somewhere. I'll find them at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I found some of the shrines, and then later on in the game, I got the shrine quest to get the shrine. And they'd be like,
Okay, yeah.
okay, and they'd be like, oh, quest complete. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Yeah, odd times, so yeah.
So I guess a good jumping off point or something to jump onto next. We spoke very briefly of the subject in the Ganon fight, but the soundtrack in general of the game, obviously very different to your traditional Zelda game in terms of its soundtrack. So, just as a very general question, what were your thoughts on it in terms of did you like it? The sort of direction it went in?
I do like it. I think it because and this is the thing about the game itself. It's a very slow-paced game, and I think the music fits that quite nicely. It's very subdued. It's very just here and there. It's sporadic, you know. Yeah. I just kind of wish they chose a better theme for when you're fighting Ganon. But apart from that, I think it works well. The Rito Village music in particular, because it carries the theme of Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker in it, and I just like, yeah, it's really cool. There are some duds in the music. The Goron City with the dodgy trumpets, not a fan. Random trumpet noises. Like, what is? Yeah, it's very.
I don't mind that theme really.
Really? It's bizarre.
I'm just easily pleased. Maybe that's it. I have loads of standards.
So, what is your favorite piece of music in the game?
I'm not sure what my single favorite piece would be. What I do quite like about it is that it, does take that more natural approach, where most of the time there is no theme playing, and I think it works surprisingly well because of that. Like, it can rely purely on the sounds of its environment, any creatures which are around you, just the rustling of the grass or the trees, and that is surprisingly complex to pull off, and it manages to do that. And like when you are then going from a very quiet, nice scenic area, and a enemy does appear, the transition from nice quiet natural soundtrack to a more challenging piece of music coming in, it works really well. And I like that balance and how it does go from either no music to a piece of music, or going in from one piece to another, and it felt very natural, which is what I liked. We've possibly lost a Colin. That's quite bizarre, especially on a live show. Wow. Oh, well, I guess I'll take this on for now. We'll see if Colin does return. It's now a one-man show live on YouTube, and of course on audio and so on. Ooh, Colin is joining back. That is really nice. Hello, Colin. Are you here with us now?
Hello. Yes.
Fantastic. I was
Well,
just
yeah.
the dangerous prospect of jumping from a two-man show to a one-man show live.
Yes. That was interesting. My internet died. It happens, folks. It happens.
It does.
Are we still live?
We are still live.
Oh, good.
The
Fantastic.
show did not stop.
The train carries on going.
The train does carry on.
Cool.
Which is good. So we were talking about the music, and
Ooh.
I'm not sure how much you caught up of what I was saying, but
You was just about to like talk about your favorite piece.
See, this is where it's different now. It's live. The people have already heard that. In summary, though, I said I didn't have any particular piece, but I was impressed how the game has that natural feel in terms of the environmental sounds and how it transitions from that into, say, a piece of music when you're doing a battle or when you do go into a town, and how it can like jump back and forth with ease. So I really do like the sound design in that sense, and yeah, I was very impressed that they managed to go from very traditional set of themes.
Do you ever think though there's a little bit too much piano in the game?
There is a lot of piano in the game.
There's a lot of piano.
You think you want a bit more jazz?
No, I want to take away the jazz. That's the issue.
Oh, okay.
Less jazz. Well, the jazzy piano is only in the Ganon fight. I mean, the rest of it's kind of like more like classically influenced stuff, but it's I don't know. I kind of feel like that's the most dominant instrument in the game. I do like though the credits theme because it starts with the classic Zelda theme, just played very softly on the piano. That's probably the best piece of music in the game for me, really. But yeah, it's okay. It's not your typical epic Zelda soundtrack. It's just they're trying something different, and it's good that they do. So
cool. Shall we talk about the story?
Yes, let's dive into the story.
So again, well, how I was about to say very different to usual Zelda game, but is it really that different?
Link's never died before, or almost died. Well, okay, yeah.
Even that theme, it's just kind of an expanded version of his, say, the Ocarina story, really, where he goes to sleep
Very
for
much so,
years.
yeah.
He goes to sleep for 100 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the big difference here is most of the actual story happened in the past.
Yes.
Obviously, you've got the Calamity Ganon. He's a very visible force in the middle of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing's actually really happening apart from that setup of there's Ganon, and then you later, well, quite soon after, find out that Zelda is still alive somehow. That's never explained. Fighting Ganon, making sure he doesn't escape.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah. That was going on. My one reservation is as long as they address why Zelda A, still alive, B, looks like she hasn't aged a day.
Exactly.
I'll be cool with this. But the fact that they haven't raised an eyebrow yet is alarming. But that was way at the beginning.
They just catch it. Oh, by the way, Zelda's still alive. I'm like, but everyone else is dead.
And they make a point of it as well.
Yeah, like, oh, we all died. Like, Zelda survived, and she's inside Ganon.
Well, putting up a fight for 100 years, and
yeah, it's like doing what? It's like
using glowy powers of goodness.
Okay, so one interesting aspect about the story in this Zelda game that's different from the others is the Triforce isn't as significant.
That's true. It's barely even in there.
It's barely mentioned. Zelda has all three pieces, just on the
basically, yeah.
Which I always thought was interesting. Surely at least Link must go through some sort of ritual to get his Triforce piece, but it never happened. So I was like, okay. I kind of wish they still had that. He had the Triforce of Courage because that was his character. That's who he is.
I think the problem, I think all these things were brainstormed, and I think a potential reason why they wouldn't have gone down that route is just because they want everything to be optional.
Mm-hmm.
That would seem to be an odd thing. to have optional, because it's a very like story dependent thing. I was like, and then you really have to like pin down what does the Triforce of Courage do.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, that's not really what the thing's about. It's it's
just that he has it.
It's help the story and the character progression. It's not really that it gives them an ability.
It makes Link a key player in the game. In Breath of the Wild, he really is just a knight that just got chosen by the Master Sword. They don't really show the whole being chosen by the Master Sword. He just is. It was a different take. How do you feel about Ganon being purely, for lack of a better term, a beast?
I think at least doing Ganon as the beast, it gave them more room to tell a kind of more whimsical story.
Okay.
Whereas if it was Ganondorf and you had cutscenes of him like plodding around the castle, like coming up, like scheming and such.
Yeah.
I think that would have been harder to pull off. Like, well,
it would have been, but I would love to see it.
Like, it would have been great if had they done it, but I think that would require a much more in-depth story. Whereas at this point, they could go, "Oh, it's good versus evil, basically.
Yeah,
do what needs to be done." Whereas if it's an actual person, then you have to give them like proper motive, and like that involves a lot more other parts of the story coming together. But no, I think going like to the basics of the good and evil story, it worked really well. And it kind of, and I think some of the more modern Zeldas have started doing this, is it kind of leans into its heritage of the fact that it's a long series and kind of mixes that to the fact that the story of Zelda is about characters who are reborn again and again and have their own legends. And so it's like the legend of the games and the legends of the stories intertwining. Because I think like Skyward Sword make a very, very obvious kind of like reference to that with like the 25th anniversary of something, and it was 25th anniversary of the games. But I feel some of the Zelda games have been doing that more recently, and I think that kind of worked here as well. So it's kind of just a celebration of whether you people were like really used to the series or they just kind of heard about it and there were newcomers in. And they go, "Oh yeah, Link's the good guy, like Zelda's the princess, Ganon's the bad guy." And because they keep bringing these characters back, and they have been around for like 25, 30 years now. If you do it well, you can get away with the good, we're just bringing these characters together to have a grand reunion retelling of this in quotes legendary story. It's kind of just like telling like a fairy tale at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think they do it well.
I think they pulled it off. I mean, overall the story is it's a strong story, but I feel like it's one of the weaker Zelda stories.
Yes.
I think it doesn't have the intrigue that Twilight Princess had, or just the joyfulness of Wind Waker. It has this. It's very bare bones. It's very much. There's your target. There's Ganon. Off you go, Link. It's very much all the best stuff happened in the past, which you see glimpses of. I kind of wish you could go and play that section. And I'm kind of hoping that's the DLC. I'm really hoping that's the DLC is that you play the past. That'd be like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's one of my suspicions because they've got all the assets there. The world probably won't change much.
All you do is like expand the memories Link has. Just get rid of the filter that makes him like it's a memory kind of thing. And you got cutscenes. But
so it's a much more simple story. But I think what they do definitely deserve credit for, and it's probably something they have got recently as well, is like they clearly set down some key principles and that they wanted this game to follow. So in terms of like freedom, in terms of having like an open air game, there's lots of these systems which do generally play nice together, and they make sense. And so, in terms of how do you tell a story within it, going with the idea of things happen in the past, you're playing a character with no memory, and you're learning about the events.
Yeah,
that works because you can also do that in any order as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very smart starting point, because even like a new player would be like, "Oh, okay, I get this," because it's telling you what happened.
Yeah. And then that logically makes sense because you're just piecing together your memory.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter about the order you're piecing it together, but once you've pieced it all together, that's when it clicks and you can find out a bit more.
That's kind of a big like trope of like JRPGs. Really, you know,
Amnesia-ridden heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I like the ring of it. I'm just quickly going to pop to the trademark office. Amnesia. Coming soon. But yeah, no, it was. And I did kind of brain initially when I was like, oh, really? Link's got amnesia? Did that?
Yeah.
It seemed to work all right. And yeah, I'm really intrigued what they do with the in quotes new story for the DLC. Whether that like in some ways relies on the memories, whether it's it happens in the past and it's stuff's happening around, or it's just more stuff in the past which is being told in the current time, or it's just something completely different. Like they do tell like a little small story within this world.
You play as Zelda.
I wouldn't rule out.
I wouldn't rule out.
Yeah,
just like a little bonus thing. Yeah, I can't wait until DLC is actually, well, A, here, and B, we actually know what it is. Yeah.
That's a good question. Do you think we'll find out at E3, like what the at the end of the year DLC will be? Like, and actually like give it a trailer or a name?
It's possible they might tease it. They'd be like, hey, guess what? This is what we got coming. It's like a big like teaser trailer kind of thing. Yeah, I think we could.
Especially if they're promoting it as something which has a new story and a new dungeon.
Yeah,
I think it's something they would actually like put a trailer out as if it was a game in itself.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what The Witcher 3 did with its expansion. So I mean, Zelda can do it too. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool. I think we'll start wrapping up the Zelda talk. To be fair.
Okay.
Going by the live chat, it's exclusively being handled by Mike still. And he's asked a few questions, just scanning through. He has a question about timelines.
Oh.
I guess that's right.
Timeline question.
You referred to as a timeline, but there are more than one, as we all know.
Yeah, but timeline's pretty all over the place.
Okay.
As timelines go.
So with that in mind,
all right.
You know the question, but where does Breath of the Wild sit in the timeline?
Right at the end.
At the end of which one?
I mean, I this is I hate the timeline thing.
You think they come back together somehow?
Yeah, somehow they merge back into one.
Time doesn't work that way. Although we can't rule out with it.
But what we're gonna have is like, because there's one line where you actually beat Ganon. Zelda says that he gave up the ability of resurrection to attain his full power. So he's not coming back. So does that automatically mean this is like the last Zelda game? Well, I'm not going to say it's the last one they're ever going to make, but I'm saying the last one in the timeline.
No, I'm still saying that to that.
You think that someone's going to replace Ganon, or
not just that, but when they're ready to do that, they'll pitch it as that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying even that will be final. Like,
right.
I reckon they'll do another game which is before Skyward Sword.
Yeah. Oh, easily.
They will. Proper origin story.
Even though, because they're like, oh, this is the origin story. Oh, cool. Now, this new one's going to be the origin.
Because even then they have the cliched like high tech civilization which lived in the past.
Yeah.
Obviously very relevant.
But yeah,
it's a real mix.
Fair point.
Almost deliberately so. They seem to use things from across all areas of the timeline, old and new, and across the the free splits from Ocarina. So it's really quite bizarre. Like I think, like Nintendo is definitely aware of this.
Yeah.
So maybe they do have something special planned. Like maybe, like, and maybe it's just Nintendo being Nintendo. But I feel like they might be doing like it's something special with the timeline for this game.
Mm.
Like whether it's another split or whether it is a conjoining of the three, or like, oh, it's a new timeline.
I was going to say, what is the whole new timeline? So like,
yeah, like we're starting on a new line, and it will just be the one line.
I'm okay with that.
But I think something might have happened to this game, because it just seems like it wasn't long ago that they were kind of, I don't want to go far as saying, oh, they were like shouting from the rooftops or, touting it. And I mean, like they basically put their official stamp on it. Yep, this is what the game is followed. This is the timeline. And they published it in the big art book, the Hyrule Historia.
That's right.
And they have referenced it since. And it's come up in interviews, and they have been answering questions about it. But that could just, it doesn't necessarily suggest how seriously they take the timeline. But I feel the fans take the timeline a lot more serious than they do.
I kind of feel,
and the worst thing they did was put their stamp to the Hyrule Historia saying, this is the timeline.
I kind of feel like they do take it more seriously, maybe based on Link Between Worlds. They were very specific, like, this is after Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Basically, because it is Link to the Past. It's, yeah. I think they're more interested now in doing sequels to games. Like, this is the sequel. This is what follows next. I still think Zelda's one of those series that doesn't need a timeline. It just happens to be there, Yeah. See that whole Ocarina of Time 3-way split. It's like, it's kind of pushing it, but okay. We'll see where this goes. But Breath of the Wild, I have no idea where the timeline goes. It goes in there somewhere. But
yeah. So do you reckon it does sit somewhere in the current timeline?
Most likely, yes.
I was going to say, like, that should be the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely got the outlier answer where I'm saying, like, no, I don't reckon he was even part of the current timeline.
It's a whole new dimension, yeah. No, it has to be, but I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure where.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But
no worries. Someone has to ask the tricky questions.
It's
not us.
Well,
the fans. Anything else we should talk about on Zelda?
Anything to wrap up? Okay. To ask you this.
Okay.
Your personal favorite thing that this game has brought to, like, the Zelda series?
Ooh.
For me, it's kind of more of like the combat system.
Oh, really?
Just the nuance of it. The slow motion dodges and stuff. It feels, it's good combat. It feels good. Whereas previous Zelda games have been pretty, I don't say basic, but it's been like clunky. Yeah. It's like combat is something you have to do. It doesn't feel great. In this game, it feels actually like I want to take on some monsters because it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, and it might sound a little bit like a cop-out answer, but it has to be, the actual exploration of the world. And I'm thinking more so.
Like, I thought you were going to say cooking.
Cooking is cool. I'm going to narrow it down to like just actually climbing things, because that's something which a lot of games just don't attempt. And then the ones which do are kind of like, at least what my mind goes to, are like your Tomb Raiders and your Uncharted's and, that type of gameplay.
Right.
Where you've got like these still, and like, the more modern, like the Assassin's Creed and such, like you used to have like these, fixed rigid places that are like, this is what you can climb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then as games advance, it would be, actually, you can climb a lot of stuff. Even like this non-obvious things you can climb. But I think even then, Zelda takes it to a different level.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where you've got this gigantic world, and apart from a few exceptions, you can climb any structure. And it's like, that would break any game design.
It would, yeah.
Usually.
But it works with Zelda.
But it works. And another point I did want to mention is the fact that Nintendo's managed to make a big open world game which relies on systems which are affected by other systems and so on. And it's a game which doesn't have, in my opinion at least, doesn't have traditional glitches. Like there are like ways to take advantage of those systems in ways that may not have been intended. Like the flying contraptions. It's usually flying some things.
Yeah, it's usually flying. Yeah, you make airships and stuff.
But I've not seen anything of like Link being like stuck in the ground in terms of like actually not being able to like move, or like no like particularly weird clipping, or just like you're putting an object somewhere and it shoots off for no reason, or like you go back into your house and everything's it's just usually sort of things like those physics-driven games. Like occasionally they just fall apart, and most of the time they're fine. But every now and again you go, "What's going on here? Like, what are those horses like 4 feet above the ground?" Oh, never mind. The next horse will be fine. But you always get weird moments. But in Zelda, it's been like as polished as a normal traditional Zelda.
I think that kind of speaks to like just how well polished they put it. They really did.
That's a huge testament.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's God, the amount of testing they must have done through this game. It is ridiculous. It must have been so rigorous because I mean, there's so many systems. There's so many like, little things that can go wrong. Yeah, I've done a great job. Yeah,
cool. All right, I think we're into our discussion on Zelda here. It's been fun. It's been a good one. It's also been a good test of our live show as well. We did have a small technical difficulty in the middle, but the show itself went on. Colin, you weren't gone for that long either, which is good. I'm not sure how... Something we'll have to discuss beyond the show, but this will be interesting in terms of editing, in terms of how different the two shows are going to be now. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So, but in terms of wrapping up, though, I did a bit of house cleaning at the beginning of the show. I want to repeat a couple bits. So just as a reminder, this was our first live show. So we are going forwards also doing our podcasts over on YouTube.
Yes.
I did want to make it very clear, though, that the audio podcast will not become a second citizen. If you prefer your podcasts in your earphones, just through an app or whatever, you will definitely be able to continue to listen to the show that way. We're still going to put all our effort into that, but we're also just doing these extra bits. So if you do prefer video, you can check it out there. Or if you do like live shows, you can check it out live as well. And just reminders to do that, it's just youtube.com/Nintendo Voice. Nice and simple. And we do have a bonus round question to repeat. So this is the same one we gave out last week. We're going to give it a little bit more time. And the question we asked was, what was your favorite bit of Nintendo news out of the recent Nintendo Direct? So let us know what that was. And there are prizes to be won, of course. Prizes from my Wii U game, Twisted Fusion, which is the digital art book and the digital soundtrack. Let us know what your answers are. And you can send them on Twitter @Nintendo Voice or on email hello@nintendovoice.com. And if you are our favorite answer, you'll win those prizes.
Yeah.
What was that? And also, feel free to send in some questions. And we'll do a question episode soon.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It will be
live, possibly live questions like today.
This is true, yeah. Like, it's just an added bonus at that point. Like, if we've got a certain amount of questions and then, like, someone watching live chucks another one in and we've got time to do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Why not? Carry on the fun. But that's going to do it all for this week. But before we go, Colin, where can people get hold of you?
Mainly Twitter. I'm not on BBS anymore. I technically am, but I don't. I am, but I don't go on it anymore. It's kind of a dead platform for me. But you can find my Twitter at HighlyEmbarred. which is probably how you think it's spelled.
Cool.
Yeah.
Probably older than that.
Probably.
For myself, again, mostly Twitter. Meverse occasionally, especially if you play my game. But the word you need is Lusion. The way you spell that, Leuvision. And if you want to just follow Nintendo Voice, us as a collective, at Nintendo Voice is what you need. And that's going to do it all for this week. So thanks once again for listening and potentially watching. And this is Nintendo Voice.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.